Welcome to The Shift. I'm Dean.
And I'm Akasha. We cover the latest in all things science, technology, and culture, with new episodes dropping every Monday.
From the latest advances in knowledge systems and information theory to exploring emerging mediums of art and medicine. Join us as we do bite-sized deep dives on the latest.
The shift is now. Ever imagine a future where groundbreaking research papers, like the kind that totally change how we see the world, aren't written by, actual scientists, but by AI?
Whoa, yeah.
Sounds kind of crazy, right? Like we're jumping straight into a sci-fi movie.
It does feel like that line's getting blurrier all the time, especially with how fast AI research is moving, particularly in scientific discovery.
And that's exactly what we're diving into today, how AI could be the secret weapon for, unlocking a whole new wave of scientific breakthroughs.
And we've got two really interesting research papers lined up for you, each tackling this question from a totally different perspective, which I think will give us a good overview of what's out there.
Exactly, a more well-rounded view.
Yeah.
So if you're listening to this, you're probably already interested in how AI could shake things up in scientific research, especially when it comes to generating those brand new, groundbreaking ideas.
Exactly. Like, how do we get those totally fresh perspectives?
Yeah, and we'll be dissecting all of it. The potential, the limitations, and what this all means for the future of, science itself.
What it means to be a scientist, even.
Totally.
Yeah.
Okay, let's jump right in with the first paper. LLMs for research. A large-scale empirical study of GPT-4 in generating research ideas.
Catchy title.
I know, right?
But don't let it fool you. The findings are anything but boring.
Okay.
So picture this. They basically put an AI head-to-head with over 100 NLP researchers.
NLP.
Natural language processing.
Right.
Basically the field that deals with how computers understand and use human language.
Got it.
So they had this AI and all these researchers go head-to-head in a research idea showdown.
It's like a research off?
Exactly.
I'm intrigued. How did they actually, set up this showdown?
Okay, so they gave everyone, the AI and the human researchers, the same set of research prompts, and all the prompts were related to prompting-based research in, you guessed it, natural language processing.
So keeping it in a specific lane.
Yeah, exactly.
Makes sense.
And these prompts, they were things like, how can we improve the factual accuracy of language models? Or how can we make them better at handling different languages? Real brain tickling stuff.
Right. Getting those creative juices flowing.
Yeah, and they basically told them, go wild, impress us with your most innovative research ideas.
Let's see what you've got.
Exactly.
So it was like a level playing field in terms of what they were being asked to do. But I'm guessing they didn't just throw GPT-4 to the wolves, did they? I mean, how do you even begin to guide an AI to generate research ideas?
It's a good question.
Yeah.
And they actually use a really interesting technique called retrieval augmentation. It basically gives the AI access to external information to, supercharge its creative process.
Okay, so it's not just limited to whatever it's seen in its training data.
Exactly. It can actually go out and pull in relevant information from the real world.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So it's got access to all this extra knowledge that makes the results even more interesting.
It really does.
So drum roll, please. Who came out on top in this battle of the brains?
Okay, get this. The AI-generated ideas were consistently rated as more novel than the ones from the human researchers.
Whoa, hold on. The AI was generating more original, more out-of-the-box research ideas than the human experts.
Than the people who dedicate their lives to this.
That is fascinating.
Isn't it?
It really highlights how our human brains, we tend to get stuck in our own ways of thinking.
Go away.
We rely on our own experiences, our own limited data sets, if you will.
And this AI, it's not bound by those same limitations.
Right.
It can explore a much wider range of possibilities.
Absolutely. And it makes you wonder about all those potential breakthroughs we might be missing just because we're stuck in our own little boxes.
Totally.
So, AI 1, humans.
Well, hold on. Before we start handing out PhDs to algorithms,
Right.
there's a catch.
Okay, there's always a catch.
There is.
What's the trade-off with these super novel ideas?
It seems like while the AI was amazing at coming up with those what-if questions, it's sometimes struggled with the how.
I see. So the practicality wasn't always there.
Exactly.
That makes sense, though.
It does.
Like, feasibility often comes from, years of hands-on experience,
Totally.
a deep, intuitive understanding of what's actually possible in the real world. And that's something that's still really hard to replicate in an AI, at least for now.
Yeah, it's easy for an AI to suggest, like, building a language model that can perfectly predict the stock market.
Right.
But actually doing it, that's a whole different ballgame.
And that's where human judgment, human expertise still has a really crucial role to play.
It's like a partnership, almost.
Exactly.
You need the AI for those wild, outside-the-box ideas.
Yeah.
And then you need humans to come in and say, okay, but how do we actually make this happen?
To rein it in a little.
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Now, to be fair, the paper does go into some specific examples of the AI-generated research ideas.
Oh, yeah.
And some of them were actually really insightful.
I bet.
Yeah, like genuinely thought-provoking stuff. But then there were others that were, well, a little out there.
Out there, like what? Give me an example.
Okay, one that really made me laugh was this suggestion to develop a system that could translate between different dialects of Klingon.
Klingon. You're kidding, right? As in the language from Star Trek.
Yep, you heard right.
You've got to be kidding me.
The AI seemed to think this was like cutting edge, never been done before research.
Wow. And I guess in a way it kind of is, right? Like I've never come across a linguistics journal dedicated to Klingon dialects.
I don't think they exist.
No, I don't think so either.
But it does make you wonder, like, what's going on in the AI's thought process?
Yeah, how did it even land on that? I mean,
Yeah.
it highlights this really interesting challenge of making sure that AI-generated ideas, they're not just novel for novelty's sake,
Right.
but that they're actually, relevant and impactful within the larger scientific landscape.
It's like the AI stumbled upon something kind of cool, but missed the whole memo about how it connects back to the real world of research.
Exactly.
Right.
It's like it's thinking outside the box, which is great.
Right.
But it forgot to check if there was even a box to begin with.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
off in its own little world,
Yep.
which is both exciting and also a little bit,
A little concerning,
Yeah, exactly.
because if AI is going to be a major source of research ideas, how do we make sure those ideas are channeled in the right direction?
How do we guide it without stifling it? It's
Exactly.
a big question.
It is a big question, and it's a question that becomes even more important as we look at our next research paper, which takes this whole AI-generated research thing to a whole new level. This next paper, oh boy, they didn't just stop at generating ideas.
Oh, is that right?
This one took a giant leap further, like seriously next level.
Okay.
They created an AI that writes entire research papers,
Wait, hold on. Entire page.
start to finish.
Like from the intro to the complete.
The whole shebang, title, abstract, methodology, findings.
Wow.
The whole 9 yards.
No kidding.
This paper is called The AI Scientist, Towards Fully Automated, Open-Ended Scientific Discovery.
Okay, they're not messing around.
Nope.
Fully automated.
They're going for it.
Wow.
And it's a wild ride, let me tell you.
So we're talking like full-on sci-fi stuff here.
We're getting there.
Okay.
So imagine this.
Okay.
You give the AI a starting point, a little something to work with.
Okay.
In this case, they used simple machine learning code,
Okay.
and then boom, the AI takes over.
Like it just runs with it.
It starts brainstorming ideas,
Yeah.
designs experiments to test those ideas, runs the experiments, analyzes the data,
Okay.
and then, get this,
Yeah.
writes it all up as a scientific paper.
Whoa, hold on.
Pretty impressive, right?
That's remarkable.
It's like having a little research assistant that never sleeps.
It never gets tired.
It never gets tired, doesn't complain about the coffee.
Doesn't need bathroom breaks.
Exactly.
It's the perfect research assistant.
Except it's not an assistant. It's doing the whole thing.
That's true.
Now, of course,
Yeah.
they didn't just test it in one tiny area of research.
Right, right.
That wouldn't be very convincing.
No, that wouldn't prove much.
To make sure this AI scientist wasn't a one-trick pony, they tested it in 3 different areas of machine learning.
Okay. Getting a little more diverse.
Yeah, they did diffusion modeling, which is a type of machine learning used for creating images.
Okay.
They did transformer-based language modeling. That's the stuff that powers ChatGPT and those kinds of things.
Right.
And then they did learning dynamics, which is all about how AI systems learn over time.
Wow, so 3 completely different subfields,
Totally different.
each with their own challenges and quirks.
It's like having an AI that can write a novel, compose a symphony, and then go and win a chess tournament.
Right. That's pretty impressive.
all in a day's work.
Yeah, so it's showing its versatility.
Exactly.
Okay, but how good were the actual papers?
The million-dollar question, right.
Right, because, I mean, it's one thing to string words together.
Right.
It's another to actually generate something that's, scientifically sound and insightful.
Totally.
So how did they even begin to evaluate that?
To figure out if these AI-generated papers were actually any good, they did something really interesting.
Okay.
They created another AI to act as a peer reviewer.
Wait, they had an AI reviewing the work of another AI?
That's right, AI on AI action.
That is pretty mad.
It's getting pretty mad.
So it's like, is this AI going to be tougher on its own kind or more lenient? We don't know.
Who knows what goes on in the AI mind?
Right.
But here's the kicker. They actually compared the performance of this automated reviewer to human reviewers.
Okay.
These weren't just any humans. These were reviewers from a top machine learning conference.
Okay, so the best of the best.
The big leagues.
Right.
And get this, the AI reviewer was nearly as accurate as its human counterparts.
Wow. So it was able to identify high-quality papers just as well as a human expert.
Pretty much, which is mind-blowing when you think about it.
It really is, because that means we're talking about an AI that can not only generate research,
Right.
but also understand the nuances of what makes for good research.
Exactly.
And that's huge because peer review, it's such a crucial part of the scientific process. It's the gatekeeper.
It is. It's how we ensure quality control, how we separate the groundbreaking from the not so groundbreaking.
Right.
So the fact that AI might be able to take on that role, even in part, it's pretty remarkable.
It's pretty amazing. And it makes you think,
Yeah.
if AI can do all this, write papers, review papers,
Right.
what does that mean for the role of human scientists?
Right. Like, where do we fit in all of this?
It's a big question, and it's one we'll definitely be revisiting.
Okay.
But for now,
Yeah.
there's another really cool thing about this AI scientist I want to mention.
Well-
Remember how we were talking about that first AI, the one generating those kind of out there research ideas?
Right. The Klingon translator.
Exactly, the Klingon translator.
The AI that wanted to boldly go where no linguist had gone before. Precisely.
Okay.
Well, this AI scientist, it had a crucial advantage.
Okay.
It could actually test its own ideas.
Oh, interesting. So it wasn't just throwing ideas out into the void?
It wasn't just brainstorming in a vacuum.
It could actually see if they held water.
Exactly.
And more importantly, learn from its mistakes.
That's the key, right?
Yeah.
It's like it had this built-in reality check.
Right.
A way to refine its understanding of what works and what doesn't.
So it's actually doing science.
It's doing science.
It's not just, playing around with data.
It's learning. It's adapting, just like a human scientist.
That's amazing.
But here's the thing. It's doing it at a speed that would make even the most caffeine-fueled grad student's head spin.
Right, because it can process information so much faster than we
So
can.
much faster.
It can run experiments, analyze data, all at speeds that we can barely comprehend.
It's mind-boggling.
It really is, and it makes you wonder, if an AI can do all this, generate ideas, test them, analyze them, write them up,
Yeah.
what does that even mean to be a scientist in the future?
It's a question that sends chills down your spine.
It does. It's exciting. It's a little bit scary.
It's both, right?
Yeah.
It's this weird mix of awe and maybe a little bit of existential dread.
Yeah, like, are we going to be out of a job?
Are we going to be out of a job?
Will we even be necessary?
It's a good question.
It is a good question.
And here's another thing that really blew my mind about this research.
Okay.
They estimated the cost of generating each of these AI-written papers.
Yeah.
Less than $15.
$15.
$15?
You can't even buy a textbook for $15 these days,
No, you can't.
let alone like fund a research project.
Exactly. And that's the crazy thing, right?
Yeah.
It really highlights how accessible this technology is becoming.
Right. It's not just limited to, big universities with tons of funding anymore.
Exactly. We're talking about potentially democratizing scientific discovery.
Imagine a world where, like, anyone with a computer
Yeah.
could potentially contribute to scientific advancement.
It's mind-blowing.
It is. It's exciting. It's also a little bit daunting, right?
It's a little bit of both.
Yeah, because there are questions about quality control
Oh, absolutely.
and ensuring rigor.
Making sure it doesn't turn into the Wild West of research.
Exactly, because anyone can, put something out there and call it science.
It's a double-edged sword for sure.
It is, But it's hard to deny the potential for positive change.
Especially when it comes to tackling some of the world's biggest challenges, like climate change, disease.
Things that affect everyone.
Exactly. If we can harness this AI power responsibly,
Yeah,
the possibilities are endless.
they really are.
And that brings us to a question for you listening.
Oh, yes.
Does the prospect of AI-driven research fill you with excitement, or does it make you a little uneasy, and why?
It's a question worth thinking about.
It is. It's something to ponder.
It really is a fascinating dilemma, isn't it? This incredible potential of AI to totally revolutionize research,
Yeah.
but also this need to, proceed with caution, think things through.
To be careful, yeah. Exactly.
And it makes you wonder, down the road, what are the long-term implications here?
Yeah, for sure.
How do we make sure that this AI-driven research, it doesn't just end up in its own little bubble,
Right.
disconnected from the rest of the scientific community?
It's such a good point because, at its core, science, it thrives on, people working together, bouncing ideas off each other, building on each other's discoveries.
Totally. Yeah, it's like this big, messy, collaborative effort.
Exactly.
And that actually reminds me of something really interesting from one of the papers, the one about the AI scientist.
Okay.
They mentioned running into a bit of a hurdle, a challenge.
Oh, yeah. What was that?
So it turned out that while the AI's code, like the actual code it was writing,
Yeah.
it often produced, intriguing results.
Okay.
It wasn't always the most, how should I put this, elegant, easy for humans to understand. Right, it wasn't very readable.
Exactly.
Yeah, human programmers, we care about that kind of thing.
We do.
We want our code to be, clean, well organized.
It's like an art form almost.
It is. It is.
Yeah.
There's an elegance to it.
It's like the difference between a beautifully written poem and then a really complex mathematical formula.
Right, right. They both convey something important, but in totally different ways.
Exactly.
And this whole difference in style, it actually points to a much, much deeper issue when it comes to AI and scientific discovery.
Okay, I'm listening. What kind of deeper issue are we talking about here?
Well, the paper argued that one of the biggest challenges going forward is actually developing AI systems that can not only, spit out results, but also explain how they got those results in a way that humans can actually wrap their heads around.
That's huge.
It's huge.
Because it's one thing for an AI to, solve a complex equation or design an experiment.
Right.
But it's a whole other ballgame for it to be able to turn around and be like, here's why this is the answer.
Here's the logic I followed.
Here's how I got there.
Here's my thought process.
Exactly. And if we really want AI to truly revolutionize science, we need to be able to understand its method.
You can't just take its word for it.
You can't just trust it blindly, right?
Exactly, because otherwise, how do we know if its findings are even, legitimate?
Right. How do we know if it's not just making stuff up?
Right. Or if it's stumbled upon the right answer for the wrong reasons.
Totally. It's imagine if you had, a brilliant detective who could solve any case.
Okay, I like where this is going.
That they refuse to explain how they did it.
They're just trust me, I got this.
Exactly. You'd be like, well, that's great, but I need more than that.
All right, what were the clues?
Exactly.
What was the chain of reasoning?
Because otherwise we can't learn from it.
Exactly. We can't, replicate it.
Right. We can't apply those same methods to other problems.
It's we get the answer, but we miss the whole point of the investigation.
And that's what's at risk here, right? This whole lack of transparency could undermine one of the fundamental principles of science.
Aren't you?
Openness, the free exchange of ideas.
Collaboration, building on each other's work.
Exactly. And if we can't understand how AI is generating knowledge, it's going to create these silos, these little black boxes.
Right, where we see what goes in, we see what comes out, but the actual process is a mystery.
Exactly.
And that's not good for anyone.
Not good for science, not good for progress.
Not good for humanity.
So it seems like there's this really interesting crossroads.
Yeah.
Where we have this incredible tool, this incredible power in AI, but we have to be really, really thoughtful about how we use it.
We can't just, unleash it on the world and hope for the best.
Exactly. And that brings us to our final thought-provoking question for you listening today.
Ooh. I like these final questions. They always make me think.
Imagine this.
Okay.
An AI makes a groundbreaking discovery.
Okay, I'm with you.
Something that could totally revolutionize our understanding of the universe. Completely change everything we thought we knew.
Okay, big discovery. Got it. There's
Uh,
always a but.
There's always a but.
Yeah.
It can't explain its reasoning.
Oh, here we go. Back to the black box.
Back to the black box.
It knows the answer, but it can't tell us how it got there.
Exactly. So the question
Hit me with it.
is it truly a scientific breakthrough?
If we don't understand it, does it even matter?
It's a question that really makes you think about what it means to know something,
What it means to make a discovery,
what it means to be a scientist.
to be human, even in this age of like super intelligent machines.
It's a lot to unpack.
It is a lot.
But that feels like the perfect note to end our deep dive on.
I think so too.
It's been quite a journey, exploring the frontiers of AI and scientific discovery.
As always, my friend, a pleasure picking your brain.
Always a pleasure to be here. And to you, listening out there, thanks for joining us on The Deep Dive.
Until next time.
Keep asking those big questions.
Don't forget to like and subscribe. Join us on October 10th for the Shift event hosted by SF Tech Week.
If you like today's podcast, share your thoughts on X, Instagram, or Facebook. We'll be reposting our favorite comments. And that wraps up this episode. Thank you for tuning in. And remember, the shift is now. Agency, powered by 5D Studios.